Hello everyone. The purpose of this video is to demonstrate RPGmaker MV on the Steam Deck. So, as you can see here, RPGmaker MV is rated as playable. Now, this is in stark contrast to the other RPG Maker software out there, which is unsupported on the Steam Deck. So let's have a look at how well it runs. So I have actually been using RPGmaker MV on the Steam Deck for the past couple of days. I think generally it is a good experience. There are some tweaks, however, that you might want to do. So let's have a look at that. So we'll go straight into it and launch. So when you launch it, you'll see right here that the recommended template layout is using the Joy-Con sticks, the D-pad controller, and the YXAB button. Now, there is a huge issue with this default template layout, and that is the fact that there is no mouse cursor. So this layout is great for playtesting your game, but in terms of editing your game, this just simply doesn't work. In fact, the only thing you can do with this template layout when it comes to editing your game is using your finger touch for the touchscreen, getting your finger and just sort of editing the map with your finger just like that. That's really the only thing you can do when it comes to editing your game using this template layout. Luckily, because this is Steam, we can actually change this. So if you click on Steam button, go to controller settings, and where it says recommended template, if you just click that, but then go over to community layouts, what you'll find is you'll find this layout that someone's made, and it is a good layout. However, there are a couple of tweaks we can do to it. We'll come to those tweaks in a moment, but if you just click on that, it might take about 30 seconds to download if it's your first time downloading it. But go back, and as you can see here, what we have is our mouse, and I am controlling that mouse using my right trackpad. So it will take some time to get used to this right trackpad, especially because it's not like your normal mouse that you would use on a desktop computer. It's more like the laptop trackpad. But once you do get used to it, then it becomes really easy to use. Now, in terms of actually clicking on the actual map editor, like for example, if I wanted this grass tile here, which my mouse is hovering on, I would have to click the back right button, so the R2 button, which is just here where my thumb is pointing. So that is what I would click. So then I would find somewhere the map I'd want to edit, and I can sort of do what I want like that and edit it how I want. So let's have a quick look at what it looks like in action. So what we'll do is we'll make a quick house right here. So quickly build our roof like that. And like I said, the more you sort of play around with it, the easier it becomes. Now this is the first issue we'll run into, a black screen. So it's not really a black screen, it's just takes a while to load. Well, it takes a few seconds to load. So that's one of the first problems you'll encounter. I haven't come across a fix for this yet. It's just something that happens and something you have to put up with for now. So what we'll do then is we'll have a look at a quick play test. What I'll also do is let me just edit this door just for a moment. What I'm going to do, I'm going to edit that and going to take us somewhere. So like I said, another black screen. And as you can see, it kind of disables a window before it, which can cause some issues, especially for player movement. If you want your player to move up, I don't know, 5 tiles upwards, then that's pretty hard to do if you can't see the map editor, or you don't know how far up the player should be. But now it's finally loaded. We'll just sort of transfer this person into here, or this NPC into here. We'll apply that, and we'll just have a quick look at the playtest. So click on the playtest button, Save changes. Yeah, save changes. So by the way, this is like your right click, and this is like your left click, which is a bit weird because this is on the left and this is on the right. But you can remap them if you want to. So this is like your right click and this is your left click, even though I know it's a bit swapped. Okay, so one clear issue you'll see right at the moment is that my D-pad and my joysticks don't work. I can't control the menu using it apart from the mouse. So obviously this isn't a nice experience. Ideally, if you want to play test your game, you want to use your trackpads or your joysticks, sorry, or your D-pad. So easy fix, what you need to do is you just need to go over to controller settings again and just switch back to gamepad with joysticks. And as you can see here, I can use my joystick to move the menu up or down, or use a D-pad. So this is one of the best things about playing RPGmaker MV games on the Steam Deck. It's the fact that it has the sort of console experience, that Nintendo Switch-like experience. So you generally get to feel how your game will play if it was on console. So we'll have a look at this. So here we go. Everything works perfectly fine. We'll come back out here, and yeah. So that's just a quick rundown on how RPG Maker runs. We're not finished yet though, because there are a few more issues you're going to run into, and few issues I have found solutions for. So one of the first issues you'll figure out when you've done your playtesting is how on earth do I get back to the original map editor. So if you click on Steam, what you'll find is that you'll have two windows, Project 1 and RPGmaker MV. Now, Project 1 RPGmaker MV is your map editor. Unfortunately though, when you click that, it won't switch to that window, which is a bit annoying. So I have found a different solution. What you need to do is you need to Alt F4, and that will shut down the playtest and bring you back straight into the map editor. So, of course, though, we don't have a keyboard plugged in here, so we're going to have to map those controls. So you go onto Steam, controller settings. Now, if you go back to the community layout, you'll see that there's L4, L5, R4, and R5. Now, those buttons are at the back right here. So you have R4, R5, L4, L5, and these buttons are really useful when it comes to making your game on RPG Maker on the Steam Deck. So if we go back to control settings, what we'll do R4 and R5 then. Actually no, we'll do L5 and R5. So click on L5, you want to edit that, so just simply click on the A button, and you want to put this as an Alt command. So now L5 will be an Alt command. R5 will be an F4 command. So if you press them at the same time, it's Alt F4, and that should put us out of the game. So I'm going to click the back two buttons, the L4 and R5, L5 and R5 buttons together, and now I'm back into a game map editor. So nice solution, easy fix. Now, in terms of battery life, we'll have a quick look at battery life. So right now I'm 87%, and I've got projected about 5 hours, or about 6 hours actually, of battery life. This does jump a lot though when you are playing RPGmaker MV, but you do get a lot of battery life out of it. It's not a very demanding software. I suppose it can get demanding, depends on what's going on in your maps. If you've got a lot of parallax mapping going on, a lot of plugins going on, a lot of parallel events going on, that might take a toll. Not too much though. So the next thing is to simply have a look at how do those plugins, how do those complex events, how do they do on RPGmaker MV? So right now this is like a brand new project I did from scratch. Of course though, if I was playing RPGmaker MV, I don't want to do a brand new project from scratch. What I want to do is continue in my old project. So we'll close that project. Now, if you want to open your project, go into File, Open Project, and you'll come up with this. So there's sort of two places you can look to find your game. If you go into Documents, go into Games. Now, right there, you'll find any project you started from scratch. So that project I just had opened up, there we go, I've got it back. So Documents, Games, and it will be in there. Now, if you want to find your older projects, maybe ones you've done on the desktop computer, the ones you've done on the laptop, then you're going to have to transfer that over to the Steam Deck. Now, there's a couple of ways you can do that. You can either do that through a USB, there's a USB-C port right at the top. You might need an adapter if you want to convert to USB 3.0, but that's one way of doing it. The way I did it was through a cloud program. So what I have is Megasync. So basically I have a Megasync folder on my Steam Deck and my laptop. So that means that if I edit my game on the laptop, then it will automatically sync to Megasync. And then if I open my game up on my Steam Deck, any changes I made on my laptop will be on my Steam Deck. The only issue is trying to find that. So go into File, Open Project. You want to go to this sort of folder right here. I'm not sure it's a folder, but this bottom thing right here. And you want to go onto this folder called Home. Go into Deck. And now you will see you have all your Linux folders right here. So your desktop folder, your documents folder. Now you might have put it in documents. See, I've put my current game I'm working on in there, but my Megasync folder is in here. So my latest version is in my Megasync folder. So we'll open that up. So this is the game that I'm working on right now. So this game has a lot more going on. Okay, so for example, one of the first maps here, there's a lot of events going on. There's a lot of auto run events, parallel events, a lot of plugins that are going on. And from my experience so far, it's still worked pretty great. This particular event here, where's it going? Catalpa Mountain House 2. So this particular event here, this one right here, all this scripting I have done on the Steam Deck, and so far so good. Everything's worked pretty well. Nothing wrong so far. So we'll have another playtest, see what happens. Again, like I said, you might want to switch to gamepad with joysticks in order to play your game. So, as you can see here, the sun effect is a picture on top of a picture. I also have, I'm not sure if I've sort of put it in, but we'll have a look. There we go, yeah, so I also have a little map right here that I've got. So that's also another parallel auto run. I think it's an auto run event, or might be a parallel event. I think it's a parallel event that's going on that I programmed in. So that works perfectly fine. All the events inside here, all the NPCs, they work great so far as well. So this is one of the player touch events that will just automatically happen. One of the cutscenes that will just happen right here. And this works perfectly well also. Alright, so let's go back to the map editor then. So in order to get back to the map editor, just remember to make sure you're back onto the community layout, and just make sure that you do have the Alt and F4 keys programmed in, and you can get back just like that. Now, to sort of finish off this video, what I wanted to do is just go through some of these menu options, show you what they look like, there is another issue that's just come into my head right now, which is about how to get the on-screen keyboard up, which is really easy. And then I also want to show you guys what RPGmaker MV looks like when you run it through desktop mode, which is a bit different when you run it through SteamOS. And it really depends which one you want to use. There are positives and there's negatives for running RPGmaker through SteamOS, and there's positives and negatives to running it through the desktop mode. Alright, so let's have a look at some of these menus then. So your settings, again, nothing unusual here. You'll have all your characters listed all here. You can change whatever you want. No issues there. Your next menu right here, which is your plugins. So your plugins, I thought it would be quite glitchy, but it's not bad. I haven't run into any issues actually, so honestly can't really complain here. Here's my Quest Journal plugin. Just bear in mind you might have a bit of a black screen to begin with. If you do, try clicking on this R2 button. Sometimes that works. Other times it loads by itself. You just need to give it time. You'll have a look at one of our quests right here. Again, another black screen because it's transferring onto a new window. Again, click on the R2 button. That will help solve it. And in terms of editing text, now obviously you can put in a keyboard if you wanted to, but of course that defeats sort of a portable experience. If you click on Steam and X, what you should come up, so you have to click it, so you have to sort of click it on the same time. There we go. So Steam and X, you'll see it on in-built-in keyboard that comes up. Easy to use, just like you would on a Nintendo Switch or a phone. You just sort of use your D-pad or joystick to sort of get around the keyboard like that. So again, this might be an off-putting experience for some people. That's fine. Personally, I'm okay with it. It isn't too bad. If you want to get a different key, hold on to the key you want, and then it will kind of give you the option for which one you want here. So then you can press B to disable it, and then you can move this, click on OK, OK. So it instantly goes back to the previous window, and there we go. So plugins absolutely fine. BGS and audio, editing, that is fine. You can lower the volume, increase the pitch. So that's all good right here. We'll close that. Next one. Okay, so there we go. So here for your variables and switches, you can sort them out there. I rarely use this particular one. The next one is your imports from your folders. Again, haven't really played around with this yet, but so far it doesn't look bad. It looks exactly as it would on your desktop. The last one is, I think, your character creation. Haven't really messed around with this one. Might take some time to load up, but we'll have a look. So character creation will be really important. I think I did load it up at one point. Not sure if it will load up again. We'll have a look. Okay, so I'm going to cancel that. We'll have another go. Nope. One more time and then we'll sort of skip over it if that doesn't work. So yeah, this seems to be another issue. Character creation, like I said, it hit or miss if it loads up. Generally, it will load up like the other windows have, but this is clearly an example which oh, there we go, it does work. So you just giving it time really. And I assume everything here looks normal. Alter anything that you want. So yeah, looks absolutely great. There we go. Randomize, and so brilliant. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with those menus here, apart from that little black screen. But like I said, the only worst part I think I found about this is when you'll go into text, for example. So let's say if I go into edit this text, let's say I want to preview this text. This is probably the most annoying part. I can't really preview it, especially since I'm someone who uses a lot of those different color commands and all that stuff. So I want to kind of see if the color that I'm using does turn up, as you can see here. That 9 times out of 10 doesn't work. I think it only worked once ever. I think there was one solution I found. It wasn't the best solution, but if you just click on test. Yeah, that's the only solution I found. If you want to sort of check if the text is coming up right. So you want to know if the text isn't half cut by the window or if the right colour turns up. And then I assume just go game end here to title. And then we'll just cancel out of that. Ooh. There we go. So yeah, Alt F4 again, and that should get you out. Again, not the best way, I think, to sort of check if your text is right, because it kind of forces you straight into a playtest instead of just seeing it without going to a playtest. But yeah, that's the only most annoying thing I think I found so far. Everything else, though, works perfectly fine. Alright, so the last thing I'm going to show you guys is RPGmaker MV on desktop mode. So if you're not sure what desktop mode is, it's basically a mode on the Steam Deck where you can come out of Steam operating system and go straight into a Linux desktop. And I do think this is actually the best way to play your RPG Maker game and also to edit your game as well. So what we need to do is we need to exit the game, go into Steam, go all the way down to power, and then switch to desktop. So now that we're coming into desktop, we just simply click on RPGmaker MV, which is on the top right hand corner. It might take a few seconds to boot into the desktop, but now we're in. Now click on RPGmaker MV. I'm using the right trackpad to actually click this time, so I'm no longer using R2. I'm using this trackpad here to double click. So the logo comes up, and this should feel very similar to what you experience on a desktop computer. So like I said, generally there's just all positives here. The only drawbacks, like I said, is getting to the desktop, which might take an extra couple of buttons before you get to your game. So one of the good things then is I have access to my folders straight away. So I have access to all of my images, all of my characters. I can see exactly what resources I'm using. I can have a look at my resources. So that's straight away, that's a positive. Something I couldn't do on SteamOS. Another thing as well is if I have a look at this event here. This event is something I made on SteamOS. But if I have a look at it on desktop mode, so I'm going to left click using the left trackpad, then click on edit. One of the issues I faced on SteamOS was this idea of not being able to preview my text because it came into a black screen. If I click preview here, it goes straight into a preview. So that's an amazing benefit there. And there is no black screen in total, to be fair. It's just one window after another. So that is fantastic for character creation. Now just comes up straight away. There's no need to sort of wait ages for it. And yeah, it's fantastic. Now, the last thing we need to talk about then is the playtesting. So playtesting, Again, no drawbacks. As far as I'm concerned, as far as I'm aware, the joysticks and D-pad work for perfectly fine. Just have a look at it. Yeah, there we go. So D-pad, joystick work absolutely fine. So my map is right here. I can see my map. I can interact with my NPCs like this. Brilliant. So fantastic. Playback is really good. And I don't have to deal with the Alt 4 problem because I have my close button here, which gives me straight back into the editor. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. If there's anything else you want me to check out in terms of RPG Maker on the Steam Deck, please let me know. Maybe you want to check out what modding is like or anything else. Anyway, thank you for watching. See you guys later.